It's been an interesting week of news, and joining me now to discuss the top stories is One Nation MP Sarah Game. Sarah, great to have you on Bernardi. Thank you for joining me again. I've got to start with Qantas, which has dominated the headlines this week. Of course, the news that CEO Alan Joyce's early retirement after the airline was grilled in a Senate inquiry. It had a huge number of issues, including ghost flights, not providing refunds appropriately, unused flight credits. The new boss, Vanessa Hudson, has promised to make swift changes to win back consumer confidence. And your party boss, Pauline Hanson, said they should start by getting rid of the welcome to country. I'm with her 100%. Where do you think they should start?
It's absolutely the right thing to do. It's the minimum that they need to do, Cory, at this point. After we've seen Alan Joyce with a $24 million golden handshake, we've had billions of Australian taxpayers' money to bail out the Qantas group, only to be met with an acknowledgement to country that, frankly, most people don't want. So I fully support that being abolished as the absolute minimum step.
Do you reckon it's going to happen?
I think it might happen, especially if we see what happens with this voice referendum. It might happen. I think there was a lot of backlash after they used what really could be seen to be taxpayer money to brand their planes with the Yes campaign. And I think a lot of people were very unhappy with the way Qantas seems to have taken a side with this.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it would signal a new direction for the airline, less virtue signalling, more passenger customer focus. Hey, you mentioned the voice referendum. Now, South Australia is shaping up as a must-win state with the yes vote just nudging ahead, albeit it's got a declining vote. But 18% of people here are still undecided officially. What do you reckon the campaign needs to do to get them over the line? How do you think it's going to play out?
I think people need to understand that voting yes in this upcoming referendum is voting yes to a blank cheque from Australians. And that is going to have devastating consequences, and those consequences are going to be felt most by the most vulnerable in our society. We don't have infinite resources, and to vote yes to a blank cheque with no transparency, no accountability and no understanding about what this is going to cost is going to be devastating. We've already seen it in the Northern Territory where the Albanese government has funnelled money towards the Yes campaign, taking it from Indigenous schools. And we're seeing it here with our own state-based voice, where we've recently had an advertisement for a director of the Voice Secretariat for up to $300,000. Most South Australians, I think, will catch on that this campaign has been misleading from the beginning. It's targeted people's emotions. It's been disingenuous because we know that the Indigenous population already have a voice. And I'm really hoping we're going to see South Australians vote no.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But let's just talk about this South Australian voice to Parliament. They've already got one, but it was no sooner passed through the Parliament and announced, and I think they said there's going to be 100 members of it,
That's right.
Then it was suspended. Now, I smell a rat in the sense of they're going, we don't want this to be known by the general public about what's going to happen and how they're going to go about their business until the national voice referendum is decided, because I think it'll be terribly damaging to the yes case if they'd started up. Is that about right?
I think that's right. I mean, I would say that most South Australians are only catching on now that we've actually sort of almost stealthily passed a state-based voice without consultation. I think a lot of South Australians won't be happy about that. And to realise that, yes, we have 100 members or over 100 members already in this state-based voice, with the potential to create more members with guaranteed resourcing at enormous costs. I think it's certainly got the ability to work against the Albanese government.
Yeah, it certainly does. Hey, the National Party have had their love in and they're now clashing over energy policy. We've got Barnaby Joyce, Keith Pitt and Matt Canavan, three really smart, intelligent blokes, backing a nuclear policy overhaul and a push to ditch the coalition-backed net zero emissions target. Where does One Nation sit on both nuclear and net zero?
Well, I think it's clear, Cory, that the quest for net zero is going to send the country bankrupt. And One Nation's been quite clear that we absolutely support nuclear energy. I mean, other countries are either building nuclear reactors or they're increasing the nuclear generating capacity. So worldwide, nuclear energy generating capacity is increasing. And Australia is out of the game for no good reason. And instead, we're pursuing the rabbit hole of renewable energy, which has no good business case. So I absolutely support nuclear energy in this country.
Yeah, and net zero is, as you say, going to send us broke. It's an impossible dream, and yet the three major parties, and four if you count the Greens, who are a fringe major party, they've all signed up to it. It's just a disgrace for the country.
It really shows no respect for those people that are really struggling with our cost of living crisis. They can't afford their energy bills. It's stopping them getting on the housing market. It's stopping them really buying the food that they need to eat as well. It's completely out of touch with where most Australians are at.
It certainly is.